do, I will ask Rob to provide with his remarks about this session and the way forward on behalf of FCDO. Rob.
Thank you very much, Baljit. Namaste. Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today. Baljit, thank you very much for the promotion. Senior Private Sector Development Advisor. I'm not sure that exists, but I'll definitely take it. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'd just like to kind of reiterate the kind of background to this, particularly the COVID context. And we heard about the huge impact that COVID has had on migration. We heard the numbers of migrants that traditionally go overseas to seek employment, a figure of approximately 300,000 per year that do that. I mean, clearly COVID has impacted that hugely in Nepal. Those of us that were in Nepal during the kind of lockdown, the start of the first lockdown in March of last year, and the kind of strict measures that were brought in place, which closed the airports, stopped flights, we'll all know too well the kind of impact that would have had. And the fact that 50% of households in Nepal rely on migration with either someone overseas working or someone who has worked overseas really emphasizes the impact that this had on families in Nepal. Those that have taken loans out but been unable to travel and now debt burdened with that loan in Nepal and seeking ways to pay that back. I mean, there's a huge pent-up demand for migrants and migration. And I think this session comes at a really appropriate time in terms of seeking a way to support migrants going forward and saving them money, enable them to save more as Nepal starts to open up again, and as the world indeed starts to open up and embrace migration again. I was really pleased that throughout the pandemic, the programme SEEP was able to pivot and support those migrants that returned and those that were aspirational and were unable to travel. As you heard from Baljit at the start, a traditional modality in the programme is providing certified skilling, reducing the cost of migration through market rate loans and other insurance products like that, kind of innovative products. We were able to pivot during the kind of COVID context in Nepal to support returnees with loan products through our existing financial partnerships, to support them to do something in Nepal, start a business or invest in something in Nepal as they couldn't travel overseas. We used digital technology very effectively as well. Through our Rosgari partnership, we supported jobs portals to capture migrants' data and their skill sets and the geographic location in Nepal that they'd like to work, and supported matching them with job opportunities in Nepal, some even before they came back to Nepal, which is really important. And I think as well, we're exploring how those job portals can kind of match aspirational migrants with access to finance as well. So that's another really important thing we're doing. I think it's important to kind of touch on financial inclusion and the importance that's had. Clearly, we know, and we've spoken about the strong use of remittance channels for migrants overseas. A lot of migrants before they go, though, don't have bank accounts in Nepal. They use the informal system to get loans. And I think that's changing with a lot of support. I think there's been 3 big impacts that are supporting migrants before they go to kind of set up their bank account, to get that insurance product in place, to get that market rate loan before they go. And I mean, the statistics are pretty impressive, actually. In 2011, only 25% of Nepalis had bank accounts. Now that figure's up to over 60%. And that's through a lot of kind of hard work from donors working with financial institutions. You've heard the Deputy Governor talking about the Sachem Access to Finance programme and the impact that's made. I mean, that's supported over 2 million Nepalis have access to a bank account, which is incredible. There's also the important work of Nepal Rashtra Bank to address all the regulatory constraints. And as you heard Baljit say in the introduction to the Deputy Governor, modernising payment systems, but also supporting the interoperability between financial institutions and mobile money providers. There's also the proactive nature of the financial institutions and mobile money providers to support financial inclusion. That's been huge in Nepal, but also the kind of increased use of technology and the speed at which technology has evolved as well. I remember back in January 2019, which seems like an absolute lifetime ago, being in Janakpur with IME as they launched their digital payments ecosystem with the Chief Minister there, and just kind of fondly recollect on that event and the potential it has. I think going forward, there's lots to do. Clearly, there's lots to do on ethical migration. That's a topic for another day. But stopping migrants having to pay fees to go abroad is something that's really important. A bigger push for more migrants to use the formal financial system to obtain loans before going overseas to fund their employment venture, and more banks engaging this. I mean, we have several that you've heard about that are engaging in this area already with tailored packages, but there's more to be done, and it's really exciting to hear some of our guests today speaking about their appetite around providing loans as well. That's really interesting. Lowering of remittance costs, clearly very important. Traditionally in Nepal, people are looking at 3 to 5% to get their money back. So companies, including some of our guests today, coming in offering below 3% is fantastic, and obviously aligning well with the strategic development goals. I think the proactive use of remittances as well, supporting that is very, very important, as we're doing through the SEEP programme. And Baljeet gave the example of Optimise City Cargo earlier, and that's very exciting. I mean, the potential for returnee migrants to come to Nepal using their remittance money or indeed a loan to buy a vehicle, and then in effect becoming self-employed under the Optimise Cargo umbrella is very, very exciting, and offers huge potential with really, really good salaries as well. And I think finally, I've got to get this point in because it's very important to the British government and the British Embassy. Women's economic empowerment and supporting female migrants. The regulatory environment and the restrictions in place in Nepal are really unfavourable towards women migrants. So working through the system there to open that up for women migrants, so that they don't have to migrate informally, travel to India and use informal methods to get to destination countries, putting themselves at huge danger, is really, really important. And I know the ILO and the IOM are actively pushing this agenda at the moment, and we wholeheartedly support this. Just finally, some thank yous. So thank you to the Deputy Governor. I know he's had to shoot off, but excellent and exciting to hear from him, and his charismatic speech was inspiring, I think, for all of us. And thank you as well to the panelists today. Really, really interesting debate and discussion, I think, today, and a lot of fruit to come out of that going forward. And finally, just thank you to all of you listening in as well. We really appreciate your time this afternoon. And apologies for slightly running over time. Thanks, Baljeet, back to you.